Top 10 players under 25 in the NBA. All right. So, number 10, Ben Simmons. He's got a lot of flack recently. I did a video on the Sixers and kind of talked about it, but he is not a bad player at all. Um, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists last year. He could easily average a triple double at some point. He was runner up defensive player of the year. He probably should have won it, to be honest, over Rudy Gobert, especially how terrible Gobert was um, in the playoffs. So that's easily his biggest strength is his defense. He's super versatile. He's 6'10", he's point guard. He can guard every single position, and that is huge in the NBA. So his biggest strength is easily his defense. His biggest weakness, shooting more so than offense. He doesn't have to shoot threes. People are on him about shooting threes. He doesn't have to. He doesn't need to. But he does need to be more aggressive. And he does need to have that threat from three, right? So, um, like it reminds me of Giannis. I was watching the game the other day, and Giannis just kept shooting open threes, and he kept missing them. Like it was gross to watch, but at some point you kind of got to take them, just to have people respect it at least. And I'm not saying Ben Simmons is Giannis, but he is somewhat similar to Giannis in terms of how he plays. He's just way less aggressive. So he needs to be more aggressive. He's got to shoot more. He really does. But coming in at number 10, Ben Simmons could be much higher. Was probably much higher before the playoffs on this list, to be honest. Um, but good player overall. Next up, number 10, we got Demontis Sabonis. Man, this dude is good on offense. Like 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists good. He is just a very, very good player. 53% from the field, 30% from three, which is not ideal, but he's shooting them. He shoots them respectively enough to it not be a big problem. Uh, so he is, however, a big liability on defense. Um, he's a little slow. He has trouble guarding the perimeter, and he's not a shot blocker, and he gets in foul trouble quite often. It does also turn the ball over a bit, but he's also generally one of the big primary ball handlers as essentially a center. Um, so he's a good player, very good player, and could be higher too. But his defense is not good. As good as he is on offense, he's equally as bad on defense. He's got the length. He's a big dude. Um, if he can work on his anticipation, and just kind of be places instead of having to get there, I guess if that makes any sense, and he could be a better defensive player and move up on this list. But that keeps him at number 9. Number 8, Bam Adebayo. So Bama is my favorite player on this list. Obviously, being a Heat fan, maybe slightly biased. I go back and forth a lot. I got a buddy that's a Pacers fan, and he's constantly talking about how much better Sabonis is than Bam. But Bam's a better player. 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. Um, and his biggest strength is his defense. He is insane. He will win a defensive player of the year at some point, maybe multiple. He is that good. Um, he can actually shoot as well. He doesn't shoot threes, but from like mid range, he shoots really really well. His biggest weakness is he's very passive. Like it's very frustrating to watch him play, um, because he will just pass wide open shots and just not be aggressive. And he looks to hand the ball off or looks to pass the ball a bit too often. If he ends up being more aggressive, he can shoot up on this list as well. Um, but averaging almost 20 points a game without a 3 point shot, and not being very aggressive at all, like those, he could average well over 20 points later on in his career if he can kind of be a bit more aggressive. Great playmaker, great defender, good rebounder. Like he's an insanely good player. He's starting to get recognized a little bit, which is awesome. He's on Team USA this year. I know a big part of his motivation, and it was a big story, was he was left off of Team USA in the past, which really ate at him. And he just nobody saw him being this good, to be honest. He's a good player. Number 8 probably could have been a bit higher, but I felt weird because again, he a little biased. By far my favorite player on this list, but better than Demontis Sabonis in my opinion, and he's more well rounded than Ben Simmons. So better than Ben as well. So number 8, Bam Adebayo. Number 7, BI, Brandon Ingram. This dude is a bucket. 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. So he's also a pretty well-rounded player offensively. Um, Good player. He he's not a great defender. He's not super quick or athletic, but he's got a 7'2" wingspan, which he can use his length a bit better. He's got to watch film and study and get better with anticipation to improve on the defensive end, where he's not great. Um, he also just does so much on the offensive end for the Pelicans um, that like he just doesn't really exert himself on defense too much. But if he fixes that, he can go up on this list a lot as well. 24 points is actually he could definitely average more than that. Um, he's got to beef up a little bit too. He's got the length, he's got the size in terms of like height to get more rebounds, maybe closer to 7, maybe even 8 rebounds a game, and keep the assists around 5. But he's got to bulk up a little bit. But good player, Brandon Ingram, solid player. Number 7. Number 6, currently in the finals, Devin Booker. I feel like this is going to be a little controversial. I think people are going to think he should be higher on this list, but I think the people above him are just better players, to be honest. But Devin Booker is a very, very, very good player. 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists this year. He's not the primary ball handler. Chris Paul is, but he, averages almost 5 assists a game. Like he's not a bad player at all, especially on the offensive end. And 4 rebounds is good for a two guard. He's not the biggest dude in the world. So 4 rebounds is pretty solid. And then obviously 25 points is actually light for him. He was closing in on 30 um, for the past few years, but 25 is still a good number for him. But he's probably going to hover between 25 and 30 for most seasons in his career. Um, his problem is his defense. He is actually ranked 119th out of 138 eligible shooting guards in defense. Like that's not good at all, which is why he's a bit lower on this list. The people ahead of him, I feel like they're a bit more well-rounded. Um, but he could be higher, but I think I feel comfortable putting him at number 6. Um, but I can see this will be a little controversial. Great player though, great player, and hopefully he brings home a championship this year. I would love to see him bring one back to the Suns, and also Chris Paul winning. So, number 6, Devin Booker. Number 5, Donovan Mitchell. Um, Also an absolute stud. Better, he's more well rounded than Devin Booker is, which is why I have him a little bit higher. 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists a game. Um, Not bad by any means. Very solid player on offense. He is pretty much the guy in Utah. Like he is the main focus in Utah. He really carries that team. Um, Obviously his biggest strength is his offense. Like he is very, very well rounded. He's a good shooter. Uh, he gets a lot of comps to D Wade, um, which is fair, but he's a better shooter than Dwayne Wade ever was, to be honest. Um, Again, this is coming from a big Heat fan. I'm not saying he is Dwayne Wade. I'm not saying he's better than Dwayne Wade, but he's a better shooter. He really is. His biggest weakness is where he really needs to improve his decision making. Um, he gets tunnel vision every now and again, and like I said, he is the guy on Utah. So a lot of times people load up on him, and like he revolves around um most other teams' game plan is to stop him. So uh he's got to look to pass a little bit more. To be honest, he is a two guard. His main job is to score, and there's not too much else in Utah that he can really pass to, I guess. But um, he gets tunnel vision every now and again, so he does need to make better decisions. But number 5, Donovan Mitchell, good defender, good offensive player. He's a little undersized too, I guess. If you really want to, I've heard that knock on him, but number 5 is a solid spot for him. Number 4, Zion Williamson. Ooh, we got a full season of Zion, and he's pretty much cut loose. 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists a game. Um, Crazy numbers, like very, very good numbers. Obviously, he's great on offense. He just bullies his way to the rim. I love watching him play because he literally just barrels through people and just scores. Um, he's an okay defender. He needs to be better. He can be better. He's very, very athletic. He's a little small. He's a little undersized in terms of like his wingspan and stuff, but he can be a good defender. Just a little inconsistent. So for his biggest weakness, I have shooting. He shot less than 30% from three. And he is small for his position. Um, so he needs to develop a bit of a better outside shot, to be honest. But like averaging almost 27 points without an outside shot is very impressive. If he can develop an outside shot, and he doesn't have to shoot 5 threes a game, but if he can develop an outside shot, um, scary, scary. He's already pretty close to unstoppable. Um, Scary if he develops better shooting. So number 4, Zion Williamson. Number 3, Ice Trey Young. I can see this one also making people a little salty. I have Trey Young very highly rated on here. Maybe it's a bit of recency bias, but man, I love Trey Young. 25 points, which is actually very light for him. He can and probably will average much more. 9 assists and 4 rebounds. 4 rebounds is really good for a dude that's so small, for a point guard as small as he is. Um, and then obviously 9 assists is great. He could easily average 30 and 9 or 30 and 10 for a few seasons in his career. That is his biggest strength is his offense by far, right? Um, Not as great of a shooter as you think he would be. He shot 34% from three, which isn't bad, but I feel like people think he's a much better shooter than he actually is, which gets him in trouble a lot. Uh, if he's hitting his shots, fantastic. He takes those deep threes. It looks great. He does a shimmy like it's straight. Like people love that stuff. But there are games where he just jacks up shots from the logo and misses them, and he could keep shooting. So he needs to be a bit better with that, which is why his biggest weakness is decision making and defense. Not great on defense. Probably never will be great on defense, but his offense is so good um, that it kind of makes up for it. I got Trey at 3. I really do. I think that, and I think I'm projecting a little bit more with him than I am with the other people. Because this was actually a down year for him. When I think of Trey Young, I think more of a 30 point and 10 assist guy. Um, so he has that potential. So number 3, again, maybe a little high for some people, but I like him right there at number 3. So number 2, moving on, Jason Tatum. Oh boy, does it hurt watching this dude play. He pretty consistently beats up on the Heat. Um, However, we got him last year in the playoffs, in the bubble playoffs, but whatever. He didn't put that in, bam, block that stuff, which was fantastic. Love that. One of my favorite plays in NBA history. But Tatum is very good. 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists a game last year, which again, actually a little low for him. Um, he's a big dude. 7 rebounds is solid. He could also, like Trey, average 30 points a game pretty easily. Um, and keep those rebounds around 7 or 8, and then maybe pull those assists a little bit more. So Tatum is fantastic. I think he uh, has a lot of room to grow still. Obviously, his biggest strength is his offense. He just scores. However, he does have games where he shoots 2 of 15 from the field. Right? God, I can't remember, but when it was, but there was a game where he started like 0 for 13. Like it was not good. But he keeps shooting, and that's you need that in the score, right? Like that's he will eventually start hitting shots. But he does need to be more consistent with his offense, and also with his defense as well. He's got potential to be a really good defensive player, but he's a little inconsistent with like his effort over there. Um, but still, balance all that out, add it all up, and Jason Tatum is the number 2 player in the NBA under 25 years of age. I feel like he's been in the NBA for a long time. I had to keep triple checking to make sure he was actually under 25 years old because Buddy looks like he's closing in on 30, and I feel like I've watched him play for 10 years. But yeah, number 2, Jason Tatum. So that leaves number 1, obviously Luca. Um, Man, I he's dangerously close to being the best player in the NBA. At such a young age, 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Those numbers will go up. I don't know if any of you guys play 2K, but he wins MVPs like every single year. Once you get a few seasons in, like he can do that in real life too. He's going to win multiple MVPs. Um, he's going to be the best player in Dallas Mavericks history. Sorry, Dirk, maybe a little early to say, but Luca, if he stays in Dallas, which is an if at this point, I suppose, he will be the best player in Dallas Mavericks history. His biggest strength is obviously his offense. Like my God, you don't stop Luca. You just live with it and hope he doesn't kill you too much. Like there's not really any stopping him. He could score in every way possible. He's insanely smart. Um, with angles and stuff like that. Like he is crazy on offense. However, um, he was second in the league in turnovers. So he does turn the ball over quite often. He can get a little loose with it. He tries to make big plays pretty much every single time down the court. He's trying to make something crazy happen, and more often than not, he does. He does make stuff happen. Like he is crazy good. And again, he might be the best player in the NBA. Like he's pretty close to it. He will absolutely have that spot at some point, but he is damn close to being the best player in the NBA at this moment. But he is the best player in the NBA under 25 years old. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys like the list. I know there were a couple that are a little controversial, but my list. So if you disagree with me, please put it in the comments below. If you agree with me, if you think somebody should be higher, lower, if I missed somebody entirely. Um, I love doing this kind of stuff, so please leave a like if you enjoy the content and give us a subscribe, and we'll be doing some more videos like this. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for stopping in.